Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. This is Joe Shoup, my co-host Mark Stevens, and special guest Doug Kyle. Morning, Doug. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic and amazing on this end.
Great day in Prescott, man.
All right. So Mark, we have a really good special day today. I'm excited about this. I wanted to open this up a little bit. First of all, in the chat box, if anyone out there can, there we go. We got them saying good morning and good morning. Okay, good morning, everybody. Hi, Cindy and Kathy and Andres and Shirley and so on down the line here. So here's, want to get started with a little bit. You know, Mark, it's amazing in this industry that we look at the statistics and show that people in the home business arena get aggravated because and discouraged, I guess is a better word, that they're having a hard time with a couple of things. Most people don't like to recruit. Most people don't like to sell. And the end result of that is, especially if you're not recruiting, you're not making any money. And we know the numbers are big. We know that there are well over 90% of the people in the home business arena, the networking home business arena, make little or no money. And so it's discouraging to see that. Makes you wonder how the industry survives, even thrives, as a matter of fact. But we know that there is, there are people that know how to operate the system. They know how to get large groups. And as I was always taught, it's about a lot of people doing a little. But I think that we're seeing a major change in the way it operates. I don't like the idea a lot of people doing a little. Certainly that's a nice thing to have, but that means that there are a lot of people and a lot of people doing nothing. If you have large numbers, I mean, that's what it's always been about, the law of large numbers. And Bob Safford always taught me, but the other part of that equation is in the shortest period of time. And that's how those industries built. Big leaders came in and put massive groups together in the beginning, and for 6 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, and before you know it, they're the people making the money. But something's changing. And I want to read something to everyone and tell you what's changing. You know, Peter Gantner founded this company, and also the co-founder is on with us today with Doug. But what his concerns were was people making money, even though he had made a lot of money in the networking arena. But his concern was the people. He had the same problem everybody had, the people not making the money. So when he came up with the idea of a community of people that worked together, and we'll talk about that. Doug will be talking about what that community really is. But let me read you the definition of a community. And a community is a social unit of any size that shares common values. Now, think about that for a minute. I mean, that's one explanation. It's a group of people who are connected by durable relations that extend beyond immediate geological ties. Usually, define that relationship as important to the social identity and practice. Now, let's just go back to the original statement. It's a social unit of any size that shares common values. Now, the problem is in the industry is that even though people belong to certain teams and what they call downlines, not everybody benefited from that activity of anybody above them and most of the time below them, yeah, but not above them. For the first time in history of the home business arena, a company exists whereby every member of the community benefits from everyone else in that community. Now, we're not going to go into a long explanation of details of that today. You can get that information if you're new, but I wanted the people, not only the new people, but the existing members, community members, to understand that. It's important to know that with one simple action, everyone can get paid. Everyone. No recruiting, no sales are required to make that happen. But even if someone that's not attached to you in one of your teams, they're somewhere else in the community, their actions will affect your outcome and your income. And it will help grow your income as well. So we won't get into that today, but I wanted to explain that this is different, that we're having a paradigm shift in the way business is done in the home business arena in networking. And it's all because of this team of people that's working. Peter Gantner comes up with the idea and working with team members, community members who are enhancing the entire thing and putting it in place. And one of them is with us today, Mark. It's Doug Kyle. And Doug Kyle, I'm really appreciative that you are coming on. I know that you have great skills in this industry. And one of the things we talked about is that you could teach people a little bit about social media, and I'm excited about that. I'm glad that you are here today. I'm excited to work with you. It's the first time I've worked with corporate that is so connected with the community. And we have a connection to the people at corporate, and I'm very, very excited about that. So without further ado, Doug, thanks for being here today. I appreciate it, and we'll turn this over to you.
Well, thanks, Peter. You know, and as you were talking, Peter, I was kind of...
Yep, I am Joe. You know that.
But Joe, Peter. Peter, sorry, Joe. Joe, while you were talking, buddy, you know, I was thinking, you know, really where we've come from in the industry, you know, back in the 70s, you know, when home-based businesses really started and everybody was meeting in living rooms and talking, and that was a big deal. And then, you know, then we went through that period what you were talking about, where it's a lot of people doing small things, and the reason for that is because most people could only bring in 2, 3, maybe 4 people.
Yeah.
So the guys at the top were counting on hundreds of people bringing in 2, 3, 4 people, right? And that's how they built their organizations. And then we entered into the internet arena, and everybody got really excited because now we had a more open environment where we could reach people, and we thought that just by sending out information to people and getting it out in emails and stuff, and that worked for a while, but just getting information out would build teams and groups and communities.
Yeah.
But we've had a paradigm shift, and Cooler Brands is really that shift, and we're going to talk about that a little bit and how that really is shifting social media, because, and we'll talk about it at the end of the slides, but I'll give you guys a little heads up. There's 2 ways to do this. Either you as an individual, Joe and Doug and Mark and Peter and everybody that's on this call, either as individuals we go out and build a community. We go out and build our own individual tribe, our own individual group. Or we plug into a community kind of like what you're talking about, Joe. We plug into a community that has common interests. And when we do that, the common interest is what accelerates the ability for everybody to reach those goals that they desire or they want. And those goals can be many things. They could be more time with their family, they could be more time to travel, it could be more income. It will be similar, but in some cases it will be different in each individual. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about when we talk about social engagement today. So let's get into it. I got a slideshow that's ready for everybody. Joe, are we ready to do that, my friend?
We are ready.
All right. Tell me when you can see my screen here.
Yep, I got it. We're there. I think, like there's a little delay, but we're there.
Okay, great. So, really the key question here, guys, is, engagement is critical. So I'm going to ask some questions, and I've got to see if I can get my screen down so I can see your guys' answers here. I'm going to move this off to the side, do a little screen housework here. So what would you guys consider true social engagement? Okay, and when I'm talking about that, our likes and RTs or retweets, and we're talking about specifically Twitter here. Would that be true social engagement? Give me a 1 if a like in your mind or a retweet is true social engagement. So I'm looking at the chat here, see if we can get some engagement with you guys this morning. Joe, do you see anything coming through, buddy? Or did I lose it? Did I lose you guys? Yeah, there we are. Okay. No, we got it. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, and I agree, guys. That is really not true social engagement, right? It's a first step potentially towards social engagement, but it's not true social engagement. So it doesn't matter if you have 100,000 fans. If nobody is commenting on your post, right, if you don't have comments or communication happening, in my opinion, you really don't have any social engagement, okay? You might be spreading a lot of information out there, but social engagement actually begins when we start having a two-way conversation with somebody, and that's true online or offline. But our goal online is to really figure out how to get this true social engagement where we have conversations going on with people, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. I kind of like this as the eye doctor test, right? And there's no right answer. I just want to see your guys' answer to these two things and kind of get an idea where you guys are at. So I'm going to show you two pictures on this slide. There's picture 1 and picture 2. Which one is more engaging to you, picture 1 or picture 2? Which one causes a response? Which one might you click on, picture 1 or picture 2? Okay. Yeah, categorically it's all picture 2, right? So picture 2 is something in color, has a lot to do with it. I love the dog. He's cross-eyed, So if I was going to pick on one of these two as an option of, wondering what's going to go on or what the person's talking about, I would pick picture 2. Let's do it one more time. Okay? Picture 1 coming up. There's picture 1 and there's picture 2. Now this is going to be interesting. Which one of picture 1 and picture 2 might you be interested in? Might ask you to ask questions or get engaged in that picture. Picture 1 or picture 2? Yeah, categorically again. Well, we had 1-1. That's interesting. But almost all 99% picture 2, right? So pictures and images, as we're on another one. Okay, cool. So again, 99% 2. One's not. I thought some people might pick 1 on this one. Depending on the topic, right? If we were talking about, how important it might be to get up from your desk and exercise, picture 1 could be very important, but picture 2 could be also. So the picture is really important, and we know that either the video or the picture that we use, whether it's a tweet or a pin or a post on Pinterest or Facebook, wherever that is, the picture is really, really important. And some of the things about picture, the color, people smiling, really, causes a lot of engagement. One of the things that we were using when we were doing a lot of Facebook ads was really trying to find people that were happy, that were smiling, that were engaging themselves, that brought out an emotion in people. So the picture that we use is really, really important if we're trying to get social engagement, okay, opening up conversations. So engagement should be the goal of all our social media activities. It shouldn't be the goal just to get a like or a retweet, really actual engagement, and that's what we're kind of going to talk about. So I'm going to give you 3 steps, and they're very simple, and this is going to be a short little talk or walkthrough here, and then I'm going to show you a tool that I use on Twitter that I think everybody will be interested in. But we're going to go over or give you 3 simple steps that will improve your social engagement, okay? And that's the goal. Step 1, and I know Joe can confirm this, but step 1, lead by asking questions and then listening to that answer. Engagement happens when you can respond to the answer, right? So I liken this onto going to a social party, right? And you see somebody that's interesting across the room, and they look at you and you look at them, and you're going to go have a conversation with that person. When you walk over to that person, how does that conversation begin, right? Do you just start off by saying, hey, I got this greatest opportunity on the planet, or I got this greatest product since sliced bread, and you start telling them what you have and what might fix their life or what might make their life better? No, you don't start off a conversation that way, right? You start off a conversation by, asking questions. Hey, my name's Doug. What's your name? That's our first question usually. Where do you live? What brings you to this party? All those kind of things that begin conversation, and conversation is true engagement. Now that is absolutely no different, guys, than on social media. We should approach social media not much different than the way that we approach life and trying to get to meet people. When I'm watching social media come across my desk, when I watch this Twitter tool I'm going to show you, most people are leading with their product, their opportunity, their whatever. But when we talk about true social engagement, I'll give you 2 examples. How many of you guys know Jan? Give me a 1 if you know Jan. So I'll know where we're at and how many people are involved in our community. So give me a 1 if you know Jan.
I can just say yes, right?
Yes, categorically yes. Yeah, so okay, so a lot of you guys know Jan. So Jan, and Jan may be even on this call. He's a great guy. Love him dearly. He's a really, really cool guy. So anyways, Jan, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, posted on one of our Facebook groups a simple little thing about toilet paper, right? And the toilet paper was, does the toilet paper go to the downside when you put it in the roll, or does it go to the upside when you put it in the roll? And he had never in any post that he's ever done seen so many comments, and everybody had an opinion. Some people said, he posted a picture, it goes this way. Some people said, no, that's not right, it goes the other way. Some people said, no, that's right, it goes that way. And it caused this conversation that Jan was able to get in the middle of and talk to these people, right? Well, we did the same thing. We created a very large group for one of our projects around gardening. And we posted a recipe on how to make mincemeat pie, right? My wife was going to make mincemeat pie. And so she posted her recipe and how she was going to do it and stuff. And the amount of people that got engaged with, well, no, I used this kind of tomato or this or that, was just amazing. But it was true engagement. I can't tell you how many posts you do that you don't get that kind of engagement. But that is the object of this, is to get people talking, because once they're talking, you have the opportunity to get to know them. And people relate and get involved with people they know. So the first thing is ask a question, listen for the answer, give a response to that in a way that you get to know the person. Step 2 is to provide an answer and ask more questions. So the first goal is not to ask a question, do they need a product or do they need, it's really ask a question so that you get somebody to raise their hand in a way that you can actually respond to them. I was listening to a talk, probably 4 or 5 days ago or so, and the guy that was talking was saying that, and I've said this all my life, is that the answer that you get is predicated upon the quality of the question you ask. And that's similar to what he was saying. If we want to have strong social engagement, we really need to focus on the type of questions we're asking. We need to test those questions, and we need to ask those questions and refine those questions. So your social engagement that you're going to have with people out there really is going to be dictated on or dictated by the quality of question that you ask. So the better your question, the more answers you're going to get on that question, and the more engagement you're going to get. So provide answers to those questions. So step 3, do your best to help others get what they're looking for. Now, let me ask you this. Do I mean, give me a 1 if I mean I'm helping them find my product? Give me a 1. Or do I mean really engaging, and I'm kind of leading you down the path here, right? Do I really mean learning what they're really looking for in their life? Are they looking for more time with their family? Are they looking for more income? Are they looking for whatever that is, right? But learning to help them find that and trying to help them in some ways, because like with Cooler Brands, we think we have the answer to a lot of those questions, right? Because we have a unique model that we'll talk a little bit about here towards the end. But we believe that in a conversation way, you can answer those questions and lead them to that answer if you truly have the answer, right? And if that answer is something that will meet that need, then you have somebody that will engage with you, that will join your community, will get involved in whatever you're doing, because now they trust you, they believe you, you've spent time with them, they believe they know you, and you know them, and this becomes a much easier process when there is a kindred spirit built in that engagement or conversation. Give me a 1 if you would agree with that. A 2 if you don't. That's a question.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's
I think most people.
You mentioned those types of questions, and it's important that people ask questions that the prospect or the person, the person in the conversation already knows the answer to.
That's right. Yeah, and that's very true. I think a lot of people know the answer to the question that you're asking, and they know the answer to the questions they have also. Lots of times, pulling that stuff out of people is just having a conversation and leading them to the answer that they know. And lots of times we are that answer. And in our case, I think we're that answer, 98% of the time, so or more. So anyway, so let's go on here. And so in conclusion, by asking questions and helping others get, and I put it in brackets, whatever they're looking for, we build social engagement. And that whatever is the important thing, right? Because we have to identify what that whatever is, whatever they are looking for, and that is where we enter the engagement, right? We don't enter the engagement, and I'm probably beating this to death a little bit, but I really want you guys to get it. We don't enter that engagement from what we have or what we're offering. We enter that engagement from whatever they're looking for and what they need or what they believe they need or want. Okay? If we enter that engagement from that side, we'll have a much better engagement with somebody. So, simple formula. Okay, here it is, guys. Find an engaging picture, ask provoking questions, wait for a response, engage in a conversation and ask more questions. And every time, as much as you can, when somebody gives you a comment, give that comment a hug. What do I mean by that? It's simple. Somebody took time to engage with you in a comment. That person has raised their hand and said, hey, I'm here. Let's then take that I'm here and respond back and get involved. That is the open door that we are all looking for when we are talking about engagement. So, and as an organization or group goes, I know some people have 16, 20, 30,000 or more followers on Twitter, in some cases with multiple accounts, and that's impossible to do. But in the beginning, when we are growing our groups, that is very, very important. So here's the question I'm asking you, okay? Would you like to know how to get 1,000+ people doing social media marketing for you? Give me a 1 for yes, a 2 for no, and then we're going to talk about this question a little bit. So give me a 1 for yes if you'd like to know how to do that, and I'll show you how to do it.
And my answer is yes, about 10 ones.
About 10 ones, huh? Yeah, I think categorically everybody's a yes. So, and Joe, looking at this question, there's a fundamental problem with this question, and we talk about asking closed-ended and open-ended questions, right? This is what we would call a closed-ended question, right? I'm giving somebody a yes or no possibility. And in this case, it's okay because I pretty much know what you guys are going to say or want, and I can predict that, right? But in almost all cases, we don't want to have open or closed-ended questions. We want to have open-ended questions. We want open-ended questions because that leaves an opportunity for them to respond in a way that we might not predict, right? They might have, they might be looking for something that we might not predict, which ultimately comes back to us or works back in our favor. So we want to, when we're forming our questions, when you're thinking about, when you're driving your car and you're forming your questions, you want to try to form questions that are open-ended. All right. So this is a social media network, okay? And in every case, we all want to be this little black dot here in the center. I think that's Joe. That's Joe and Mark right there, I think. So we all want to be Joe and Mark. We want to be the guys in the center here, right? Because we want all of these people, every one of these dots represents a person. And we want all of these people engaged with us. And again, back to true engagement. Because if we have true engagement with all of these people, what do we have? We have true influence with that person, and that person is more likely to be involved in things that we're doing in our lives. So we want to be this black dot in the center, right? Everybody agree with that? Give me a 1.
Yep.
Yep. That's exactly right. So, but in most cases, our social networks look more like this, right? And in some cases, even the social network here is fairly good, but most of us have very small social networks, and we need to build those social networks. So the question is, so with Cooler Brands, you can have no group, but still benefit from everybody in the community. This is the paradigm shift I'm talking about, guys. This is the thing that makes everything different to me, okay? So when, let's see here, when we are this guy out here, okay, or maybe even this guy here, and we have a small group, right? In most cases, our income or whatever we're trying to get done has very, very limited opportunity to be successful. And that has been the historical problem with home-based businesses that Peter came up with the idea of Cooler Brands, and then we've worked so hard at developing a plan that would change that. So the paradigm shift is this individual out here with Cooler Brands gets this whole group here working for them in a way. And I'll qualify that and explain that. But because we work in a community effort at building a product or getting a product launched through social media marketing and through sales and stuff, and because we are a royalty-based community, meaning that what this guy does over here or way over here, what he does when he sells a product, it creates a value in that product, which creates a value in that royalty, which with me all the way over here increases the value that I have in that product, and we'll explain that a little bit. So the paradigm shift is that this guy, yes, he benefits because he brought all these people potentially in. But for the very first time, I, way over here, also benefit, where that has never, and as far as I've seen, that has never happened before. Usually this guy out here is bringing in 3 or 4 people, which supports this guy, right? But for the first time, because this guy brought in so many people, it is now supporting me way out here on the edge, which it has never done before. That is a huge paradigm shift, guys. So here's how it works. Everyone in Cooler Brands community who is supporting the same product or project as you are builds value in that project or product, right? They do that through branding and marketing and sales efforts. They increase the value of your points. Now, if you're not part of Cooler Brands, you don't understand that word points. So just real briefly, what that means is that you have a value in a product because you're helping brand it and do things. And so as everybody does that, that value that you've created, your point value, will increase because the overall project or product increases in value. Okay? So because of the efforts, because of their efforts, you now have thousands of people marketing for you. Okay? Give me a 1 if you think that's genius.
I'm going to tell you right up front, Doug, you're absolutely right. This has never happened before. This is why when I first saw this and spoke with Peter that I immediately said yes, because as I think you've heard me say before, he talked about this for a couple of years with me, saying he was going to find a way to make this happen, and he did. And it's ingenious, and I believe that Mark actually called me early this morning, and said, Joe, if people don't see what Peter has created here, there's something wrong. I mean, they're just not getting it. Somehow the message isn't sinking in. And it's funny that you talk about that communication, because probably what's happening is this. What part of my class has a graphic, something like this, that shows a little girl behind a tree talking in a rope that's attached to a can, and on the other side of the tree is a boy throwing a ball up in the air, and it says the problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem when someone doesn't get and understand this, is probably the communication has not taken place. They didn't hear or chose not to hear, but either way, they don't have the information to make the choice. But this is incredible. This is a great talk today, Doug, too. This is fantastic.
Thank you, buddy. I'll give you a prime example of that, Peter. My wife is a arts therapist, and she's an artist, and most of you guys know that I'm an artist. And I'm a very detailed artist. If I paint you, it looks exactly like you. I'm, hair for hair. I'm just, very detailed person when it comes to something like that. Well, my wife and I, a few years ago, were teaching a class at Hobby Lobby. And after years of being married, doing an art project together, we finally realized that we never communicated. Not that we didn't talk.
Yeah.
We just didn't communicate. Mm-hmm. And the way that we realized that is when I said this color, she really meant a slightly different shade of color. When I said this, she meant that. And it became so hysterical that we finally realized that the art of communication isn't just talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's precise talking and precise listening. And most people don't get that, but you go through those exercises like that, and you soon realize that what you think somebody said and what you think you heard and understood may not at all been what they meant and said.
Well, it's funny, Doug, because, again, part of that class is Bob Safford taught us a long time ago, just because you're talking doesn't mean they're listening.
Yeah, or they could be listening. Doesn't mean they're actually hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, I agree 100%. So let's go on just a little bit. So there's two ways to get this, guys. Either you're this guy in the middle and you do this all on your own. You go out and you brand it, you build it, and do it. Or you join a community like Kula Brands, and you could be this guy out here and still have an advantage of being associated with this. Now, Kula Brands is going to go over 1,000 members by Thursday, guys. It's going to happen by Thursday. And so we'll be announcing in the next 24 hours or so that the last 48 hours of our 1,000-member pool will be over. But we're going to go over 1,000 members by Thursday sometime probably. And you may not ever be able to build a 1,000-member group, but you can be a member of a 1,000-member community. So that's not where it starts. Kula Brands' goal is to have 10,000 members by December. Our goal is to have hundreds of thousands or millions of members over time. So when you think about that, how you as an individual will be able to leverage tens of thousands of people now, that it becomes huge, right? So as a community of Kula Brands, guys, those that are members, as we learn to engage with the world better, as we learn as a community to put out questions and get people to raise their hands, and we as a 10,000, 20,000, 40 or 50,000 community group are engaging with people on a daily or weekly basis, what does that do for you as an individual? What kind of power do you now have by being a member of that community that is affecting and changing the world? It is absolutely phenomenal in terms of what we will do and what we can do. And again, guys, if you're not part of Kula Brands, that's fine. You can build this, and building this is done by putting out questions, answering those questions, and having conversations with people, okay? And it's no different than what we're going to do as a large community, okay? So that's it on the slideshow. Joe, do you want to make any comments, and then I'm going to show it to you?
I want to say what a fantastic job. The graphics were fantastic. The explanations are fantastic. I think people got a better sense of how to communicate. I know that we'll be doing more of this education. I was wondering, Doug, before we go, can you discuss a little bit the importance of being in the Founders Club and why one would, I mean, I know this is closing soon, but why would it be important to someone who's on the fence right now and trying to decide if that really means anything? And I think financially, what would it mean to a community member who now is also part of the Founders Club?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You know, one thing I learned a long time ago, if there's money on the table that somebody's saying that I can have, Joe, and I could have it today, but I can't have it tomorrow, I want to take a serious look at why I need to have that, right? Right. I need to take a serious look at what that difference is, and I'm going to explain that difference, guys. Let's bring back up a slide here. Well, hang on. Let me bring up something here real quick, okay? Let me try this. Yeah, I'm going to slide it over here. Can you guys see my screen now, Joe? I took a picture of you there.
Yep.
Okay. So let me erase this real quick so I have, oops, didn't want to do that. I'm going to erase this. And I'm a very visual person, guys, so, you know, sometimes it just kind of helps if we lay things out, right? So when we talk about Kula Brands, the founders community or founders pool, we're talking about a pool that is going to receive reverse royalties. Okay, we're actually, this Kula Brands, every project that goes out, Kula Brands itself is going to receive an income. So Kula Brands down here, you know, Kula Brands is going to do what? It's going to do thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of projects over time. Every project that Kula Brands does is going to pay Kula Brands a reverse royalty. It's going to pay, this project here is going to have a founders pool too, so everybody that's involved in this particular project is going to get points or a percentage of that reverse royalty. But you may not be involved in this project, and this project, but you may be involved in this project here. So out of all these projects, you may be involved in 2, okay? And you're going to get reverse royalties on these 2. But Kula Brands is going to get reverse royalties on everything, right? And if you are in the founders pool, the first 1,000 members, because we are getting paid a reverse royalty from all of these people, you're going to get a piece or a reverse royalty from Kula Brands itself, okay? So that is the only way to secure that you're going to be involved in every project that Kula Brands ever does. Now, yes, it's a small, you know, it's 8% of our percentage, but it is money on the table, okay? When this goes away, it's gone away forever. It will not come back. Okay?
When you say go away, when the founders pool goes away, correct?
That's correct. When that goes away, which will be sometime around Thursday, this money, and I say, that's why I say money's sitting on the table. When this money goes away, that will go away forever in terms of being able to get that reverse royalty payment from Kula Brands. Now, you can still participate in all of these projects, and we will and should, and that's really something that you know is really, you know, important for the community. We're here to support these projects, right? That's what we do. But you know, so you'll get in on you'll get a reverse royalty from these guys, but in this way, think of it, everybody, give me a 1 if you've heard the term double dip. I mean, give me a 1. Has everybody heard the term double dip?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So a double dip is like getting paid twice, right? If I get involved next week, I'll participate in this company and this company, and I'll make phenomenal money over time. I'll have enough projects that this opportunity is mind-blowing no matter what, because our community will still grow. We'll have more people involved. You'll have more people doing social media marketing essentially for you. For all of these projects will grow in value. So the value of Kula Brands itself, to me, will never diminish, guys. Okay? The only thing that we're talking about right now is if I'm involved in this project, do I want to get paid by this project, and do I want to get paid by Cooler Brands on the same project? Now, to me, Joe, that's a no-brainer. Okay, I get paid twice. Are you kidding? On the same project? Yeah, you get paid twice. Now, yeah, this is a percentage of the percentage. It's a smaller number, but the interesting thing is there's going to be a limited number of people here. It's going to be a smaller pool of people. Okay, so if Cooler Brands is doing, like Peter says, you know, in all of our projects, 100 million, 200, 500 million a year, this payment could become very significant. Now, does that mean that we shouldn't still be involved in these? We, and you guys, if you were on the call, heard Peter, if people were only getting involved to take care of this, then, you know, we offered them a refund. We don't want them involved to only be involved in this. We want our community to be involved in everything we do and in projects that they actually see true value in. Again, and we could talk a lot about that. But if you saw a value in this project, we absolutely want you to be involved. We want you to get paid twice. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So the opportunity to get paid twice on the Founders Pool is going to go away on Thursday, Joe, sometime. Thursday or Friday at the latest. My guess, it'll be by late Thursday evening sometime.
Doug, this is the best explanation I have ever seen. In fact, this is probably the best Cooler Brands class that I have seen in the company so far.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I mean, I'm not kidding you. People needed to understand that, and I am so thrilled that you were able to use the diagram and all to show that. Sometimes it's difficult to explain. I think a lot of people have told me they didn't really understand the Founders Pool and understand taking part in the profits of the company, basically. So absolutely. I think I want to make a recommendation before we go now. There is a call tonight, correct?
There is.
What time is that call?
Tonight is Tuesday, 5 o'clock. I almost forget what days I'm on anymore, guys, so you have to forgive me for hesitating there. So, yeah, Tuesday.
All right, so 5 p.m. Here's my recommendation is that people get out there. We are a critical time here to get people into the Founders Pool. People that you care about, maybe people that are some pretty good players that you really should offer this to. But get people on the call tonight. There'll be a lot of excitement, and tomorrow night and the next night, hopefully that the pool will be open by then. We'll see when the actual timing counts down. But get people to the call. Spend the next 2 days, 2 to 3 days, and go after the people that you care about and people that you think can really help build the community. That's what we're looking for. Interested people in helping build the community. That's what you're really looking for. Number 2 is the replay on this particular call is on YouTube. About 5 minutes after this call ends, it automatically goes up on YouTube. If you have registered at the Breakfast Club, you will get an automatic notice with your replay button or your replay link. If you have not and you're on this call on a three-way or whatever, or in the future if you're just out and you want to look at that, you need to go to youtube.com, and because Mark and I are the administrators on this call, you would go to today I opened the call, so it's going to be on Joe Shoop. If you go to YouTube and search it in the search bar, you type Joe or Joseph Shoop, and you will see what you see on the screen, me on that bicycle, that little electric bike. And when you see that, you click that on, and you will see these replays of the classes of the Breakfast Club, and this will be the first one there. So that's another way to go. So, Mark, I'm going to bring you in here. What a phenomenal day, huh?
Oh, man, that is phenomenal. Doug, I tell you, I don't know. I'm kind of lost for words because that was phenomenal. And I just like to say a couple things. First, thank you for being here. And the other thing, Joe, as we talk about in the class, I was going to cut in, but I didn't want to mess with Doug's flow. And you said, just because you're talking doesn't always mean they're listening. And the other thing it made me think of was, in the class we talk about terminology and perception. It has to make sense. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say that in Cooler Brands, learn what it's about. Get on those webinars. The more that you're on, the more it becomes a part of you, and the more you can talk to people about it. And the one of the very big things that I got from today that made me think is that when you think of MLM, affiliate programs, and things of that nature, and you compare it to Cooler Brands, guess what? They don't have a community. And community is so important. In a community, everybody benefits. In an MLM or an affiliate program or whatever, not everybody benefits. That's something that's very important and unique. And like I was telling you this morning, Joe, when Peter phenomenally put this thing together with Kyle's help and the group's help, I mean, it's unprecedented. What we have and what we're sharing in as a community is something that's unprecedented. So I think everybody needs to get a hold of that and share with everybody that they can.
I totally agree. And look, this is so important to engage, not just socially in the social media platform, but to engage people. I'm going to give you a question. A lot of people don't know how to ask questions, Doug. They really, you just explained having an open-end question. That's so important, and asking questions, not to see if you can stump someone, but to see, to ask them a question they already know the answer to. We talk about that in the class. And number 3 is, it's so important to ask a question properly. And I'll use the word as a salesman. They all do this. Professional salespeople know how to handle themselves and ask the right questions and ask them in the proper way. So I'm going to give you a question, what you really should be asking people after they've seen something or somebody says, what are you doing? First of all, you really have to know how to explain what Cooler Brands is. If you don't, go to the home page of Cooler Brands, click on the product and inventors form, and the answer is in there. Go search it out. We've put it in writing, so I'm not going to go over that today, but you really need to know. But here's a question I ask everyone. Mark knows this well, and anybody that's been to my class knows this is how to ask a question. If I was engaged in a conversation with someone, just briefly, I wouldn't explain everything, but here's what I would ask. If I could show you a way to receive royalties for life with products in the marketplace, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to know more about that? You never ask somebody, do you want to know more? It's always, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to know more? The answer is always no. There's no reason why. Tell me. And then you send them the information. But that question is critical in getting the person engaged. So once again, you can hear that again. Go back to the replay, and in fact, go back over this replay with the explanations and the descriptions, the graphics that Doug has provided us with. And once again, Doug, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I know we were going to talk about a Twitter tool, but if you have time, we can do it. If not, we can do it next week.
Yeah, I just put it up on the screen for everybody, guys, and I'd be more than glad to go through a training maybe next week on it. But it is a free tool from Twitter. It's called TweetDeck, and it's really phenomenal in terms of you can put the hashtag that you're tracking in, and it tracks every conversation on that hashtag that's going on basically around the world. You can insert yourself into that conversation right from TweetDeck. So the tool that we'll be creating as a community, can't go into it because some of it is going to be patent and proprietary, but it will do everything this thing does and a whole lot more. So, but yeah, TweetDeck, and we can do a training on that at a future time, but it is a phenomenal tool.
Okay, well, once again, thanks for being here, and thanks to my co-host, Mark Stevens. We're very excited. Spend the next couple of days, everyone, and go find the interested parties, people that would be interested in helping build our community. That's what you're looking for, people that want to manage and earn money from home. It's the home business arena is where we are. So with that, once again, Doug, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. And next, Mark, did you want to say, I'll let you close it out. You always do a great job with that, so I'll just turn it over to you. And good night, everybody, and have a great Kula day.
You know what, Joe? One other thing that I would like to point out to everybody, if you think about what Kula Brands has to offer, it's not asking you for your lifetime, all of your time. We know time is one of the most precious things that you have. Just a few hours a month, actually. And look what you can do, and look what you can set up for yourself and for your family for a lifetime. So keep that in mind as well. With that being said, peace and blessing, everyone. Go out and make it a great Kula day, Kula week, Kula month, and be cool. So this is Mark Stevens, our host, Joe Shoup, and Doug Kyle saying peace and blessing, everybody. Go out and make it a great day.